Ladies, welcome to this quick video. This is a kickoff call or kickoff video for those of you that are not live for the mini challenge, for the stress-free mini challenge. And all this challenge is basically an extension of the usual habitual challenges that we run. Stress and stressing, and understand what that is, and understanding how to measure it, and pretty much figuring out what is really not only the stressors present inside your life, but how to reduce the stress response to those things. Chances are it's going to determine whether or not you're having a good outcome with this. So if you're live, please check out live, or just comment live. If you're doing if you're watching a replay, do replay. The difference between this challenge and everything else that we've done when it comes to habitual challenges is that it's going to require a level of accountability, which is probably much higher, and it's also going to require a level of vulnerability, which is higher, because you're going to have to share a lot of yourself. Meaning, we had some carb cycling challenges, we had some trekking challenges, we had the holiday challenges. Those were a little bit more intense than just the regular one. This one is probably the one that most ladies, will need. Most ladies will need, because we know that stress, now we can actually measure it. We have a test measuring it, and if you at the end of the challenge or sometime in between, we're gonna those of you that want to measure it, you go ahead and measure it. And you're gonna see how positive stress and negative stress, your body is perceived as the same, and therefore it's really important for you to decide whether or not you're able and willing to let go of some of the stressors, and then put some effort into regulating your stress response. And if you cannot get rid of the stressors, because obviously some of you get stressed about their job, families, significant others, you cannot get rid of your kids or whatnot, then you need to really to be able to control the stress response, because that's going to impact whether or not you're not only healthy or you lose weight and keep it off, but all the above. A principle I want to teach you today, and I keep seeing inside, especially from not the members, but mostly from the people inside the group, is the principle of learning. Okay, is a principle of learning, the principle of changing, and also the principle of intelligence. Meaning, not per se what those things necessarily mean in general, but what's they gonna mean to you. And what why I want to share this is because if you're probably doing this challenge and you get some results, it will change your life and it will change your behavior, and you'll be happy. The reality is that most people, will not do this challenge. Most people will just look at anything else. They will just look at for quick fixes, supplements to get rid of stress. How can they find a way that you can see maybe online that is going to help you get rid of stress? Something quick. And there is no quick fix for stress. There is no, do it easy kind of thing. Like, you need to look into the difficult thing to the uncomfortable thing, and you need to be able to do it. Now, the meaning of intelligence from people is basically, it's nothing to do with being smart or dumb. It's nothing to do whether study or not study. It's basically mean, for me, principle of intelligence, and the meaning of it is basically for people to get what they want, and need. And therefore, they'll do anything necessary to actually get that. And pay attention, because this correlates with kind of like the next thing. The principle of learning, of the real meaning of learning, and I'll make a video about this. We're going to talk about real life versus, textbook or class time inside, when you go to school. The meaning of learning and the real definition should be, and I did in part to look it up as well. If circumstances are different, if circumstances are the same, a scenario is the same, and your behavior is different, then you have learned something. In other words, if what you do, if you find yourself in a similar situation, right, And you go from really learning a lesson and it's like, I'm no longer going to do that, right? Or for example, I'll attach this to the challenge. If you, instead of this time watching all the other people post, you actually start posting yourself and do the challenge, in 21 days, you'll create an habit. And that's going to positively impact your life as well. And that will have meant that you have learned something for real. If your circumstances stay the same or change, but your behavior stay the same all the time, it doesn't matter how many fucking video you watch, you'll have learned nothing. It doesn't matter how many times you stay into this group, you have learned nothing. It doesn't matter if you go and research every single day something different, you have learned nothing. And I say that because it correlates with being intelligent. Because chances are, if you understand that, class time is static, when you go to school is static, and the real world moves all the time, you understand that you need to do rather than just watch. And if you do, chances are you will have learned something. And therefore, I want to invite you to really take this challenge to a very different degree that you took anything else. Put yourself in a vulnerable state, post, and the first post I'm going to ask you to make is, I did tag you right now. If you commented, I'm going to take the challenge. I tag you right now into my profile, and I highlighted the difference between positive stress and negative stress. I want you to post a post inside a group telling me who you are, whether you're a client or not, doesn't matter. Who you are, what is your positive and negative stress, and how is it impacting your life. You should post that if you want to take the challenge. Definitely if you want to be in a position to actually win it. Why is it important? Is because most of you, even clients, they have not done their introductory post. This could be a good time to actually start doing that. And again, it's not about getting in and getting a set of macros or getting some technique. It's about changing who you are. And changing who you are, it starts from getting yourself out of the comfort zone. That means for some people going live, that means for some people posting, and so forth. I also put a chat inside the the messenger section. I invited all the members, and if you are in a chat, that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to take the challenge, but if you are taking a challenge, you should definitely post inside the chat. And most than post inside a chat is look the direction inside the chat. I will not support people inside the chat. I'll make this clear. I have too many things going on to be able to look at every single thing inside the chat. So the chat is for me to be able to give direction. You post inside a group. Whenever there is an event, you can come in person, meaning in person, obviously together inside Zoom or so, and we'll make the support on that thing. These are habitual challenges. They're not necessarily meant from giving you strategy that you need to optimize from or learn from, meaning like it's not like you have to optimize something. If you follow the direction as is requested, you will see a change, and there are going to be point of activation for you, meaning like if you're a client, that's great. We have our check-ins. If you're not a client and you want to know more, there is going to be a way for really assessing your situation, but that will necessarily be done in a very structural manner. Now, I will be in the chat sometime. I'll answer some question, whatever, but I'm not going to run in there and do that. I'll test if this works. If it's a mess, because I never done it this way, we'll basically, delete the chat and I'm put the post inside the group as usual. But I wanted to do it this way because there is going to be several following up, several doing this. And again, whenever I post the messages for everybody, it's not necessarily for somebody that has whatever. If you have any special requests or anything, and obviously you're an active member, you can always text me. But again, the chat is mostly for you to get the task that you're supposed to do and then do it. Good luck with this. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be very different. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but it's also going to be a lot of introspection. There is going to be probably every week 1 or 2 habits that you need to solidify and work on. Meditation, breathing. There is going to be some walking. There is going to be some assessment and some testing and so forth. And from there, we're going to go. Start with the first is very important. Do your post introduction if you haven't done it yet. And then also tell me about your stress and stressor inside your life, because whether there's something that you can keep or must remove, then you choose, right? Another thing that I'm going to ask you to start doing, well, in fact, we'll start. Actually, we'll start with this one. We'll start with actually making the first one, which is also important. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Welcome again to this challenge. If you need me, message me privately. But mostly it's like it's just a longer challenge than usual. And we'll start basically tomorrow. I mean, we'll start today. Really, you can start posting the introduction today, and then look out, because I'm gonna make some posts and some video down the week. Coach Jerry here. Welcome to the challenge, and I'm talk to you soon. Have a happy Sunday. Bye bye.